Come on.
It's a celebration.
So have you thought about what sound effect you want to use for the censoring sound effect?
I'm still using the regular censoring sound effect.
You got to try something out. You got to try something new. You got to think about what you would want. I mean, I think a duck quack could work for us because we've got a duck.
A duck quack could work potentially. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. Maybe an okay from Donkey Kong. From Donkey Kong 64.
That's it right there.
Okay. The only problem with that is that on some super rare occasions, I've had to beep out entire sentences. But in that circumstance, I'll just use the censoring noise because I don't think it's something that could be seen or perceived as content.
That's only extreme circumstances.
Yeah,
right?
that's a weird thing. Boomer informing us that YouTube demonetizes folks who use beeps rather than anything that would be considered, like you have to put it in so that it sounds like it's part of your, audio stream or whatever. It's weird because, I don't know, is that because that's just an obvious signifier for adult content?
Yeah, I mean, more likely than anything is, YouTube's so focused on sort of advertisers and being advertiser friendly. Mm-hmm. In this instance, right, if you have censorship noises like a loud beep, it's like anything that's on True TV or anything like that. It's like if it's what the swear word is, and just based off of context.
But if True TV is fine for Coke, then why isn't YouTube?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe because there's just less of a overall control, right? Because there's clear guidelines on what can and cannot be on TV at certain times of the day, right? But like.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, YouTube's goal is to become ABC at 8 p.m., right? Their goal is to be like, family sitcoms and late night, essentially. It's like their primary demographic attempt, or like, as far as viewership numbers are concerned, and viewership type is concerned. So it's just weird to me because it's not like that's a particular crowd that's skeezy about those sort of things.
I think that the Coke saw its ad on One Too Many White Supremacy videos, and then YouTube really swung back hard.
Coke is a totally different question.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, they swung out against not just political content, but people just joshing,
just people making jokes.
There's a war on joshing right now, actually, in the internet space. A war on joshing and a war on COVID misinformation.
Two great bastions of our society being torn down.
Podcasts are still being marked as
COVID misinformation,
which I think is kind of funny that they're still doing that. But
yeah, I mean, if you go,
the pandemic in some people's minds is alive and well. So
it's true. Yeah, it's a much smaller percentage every day, but there's a large group of
Evo is full masked.
Yes, and that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, ruined all the commentary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just all of it was frame trap.
I would just love to do this podcast in a mask and see how it comes out.
We might, if COVID comes back in full force, or monkeypox goes off the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Either way, obviously the best way to prevent monkeypox is a mask.
Yeah, 100%. It's easily the best way to prevent monkeypox.
Yeah. I will say though, I think there's a reality in which
put a little mask on every one of your lesions. Actually, that's how you prevent monkeypox.
Speaking of lesions, dude. So I fell into a lot of. Well, okay, I didn't literally fall into. Yeah. I encountered
things you fall into: pools, money,
love.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing that you fall into.
Yeah,
but you didn't fall into
stable relationship. Those are not planned often.
Yeah,
in real life.
Anyway, get to the point.
Yeah. So I didn't literally fall into, but I interacted with a lot of poison ivy.
Yeah,
about a week ago, and now it's fully proliferating on my body. And it is head to toe. Under the shirt I am currently wearing, I'm covered in spots.
Yeah.
It's real. It sucks.
In case you're wondering, that's why Dylan has
my big old
shiner on
my face
on
right
his
now.
face. It looks like he was punched by
I could show
multiple wasps.
More on my body, but I think nobody wants to see that.
I don't want to see it. Nobody maybe, but maybe they'll pay to see it.
Maybe on the Patreon if you want to see my lesions. But no, like poison ivy. This is going to be a little disgusting. Mm-hmm. All right, so just freaking brace yourself for this.
Trigger warning.
So poison ivy, it takes a full week to mature after you've encountered it.
Yeah.
And so you don't know until a full week passes that you even encountered it if you didn't see it and accidentally fell into it or something like that. And so full week passes, and then it just pops up into a large inflamed area that is weeping constantly and is covered in boils. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like I was like some sort of, I feel like some sort of leper.
A bubonic plague victim.
I have to carry around tissues so I can just pat my freaking lesions on my body.
Dogs licking your sores. Royalty shunning you.
Blah.
Putting their perfume-laced kerchiefs in their face.
Yeah. Looking above your head.
Above you.
Yeah. Not never looking below a certain.
A guy in a rubber suit just, putting leeches on you.
Yeah, Saturday night right there. No, so that being said, it's been all right. It's the constant maintenance really sucks. But I did go get a shot at the walk-in clinic that's supposed to help, and I should be on the other side of it. But the big thing is that last night I got a total of 30 minutes of sleep.
Nice.
Because I entered this weird space, we're monomaniacs, right?
Yeah.
Where I could do nothing but think about the fact that I had this on my body, right? Like it was just completely forward in my mind. And when it's just like constantly there and you have to constantly upkeep it, you're constantly nervous about, because not only that, if the stuff that leaks from you gets anywhere and you touch it later, there's a chance that you get poison ivy again.
So you become poison ivy?
Yeah. So like I have to, any shirts I wear, I have to turn inside out, when we put them in the wash and stuff like that. And, and you don't know until a full week after whether or not you've interacted with it again and caused a problem.
So is there like I'm curious what the actual evolutionary benefit is of
poison ivy.
It
makes no sense to me.
Why that would be the case? Because if you're trying to scare away predators or something that's attempting to eat you, first off, most animals have evolved with the ability to just eat it or like touch it and not have a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and it's an oil, so fur has a good chance of preventing it from reaching your skin.
Reaching the skin. So in what circumstance are you touching it, like going to help propagate it / not destroy it if a week later you receive multiple boils or whatnot?
Yeah, I know. It's that length of time in between. I mean, who knows? Maybe eating a large quantity of it has a much quicker and more visceral reaction.
Yeah, well, it will kill you. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, unless you're Luke Martin and you eat half of a leaf every year.
Is that a thing he does?
Yeah. So this is an old farmer's trick. I've learned a lot about homeopathic methods to cure my skin disease. One of them is when you're young, you, from a very young age, eat half of a leaf every year.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that. And then you should have a pretty high tolerance. And he claims, at the very least, I'm not seeing this in action, that he is not affected by poison ivy whatsoever.
So, but does that cause a minor reaction when you eat it?
I don't know. I mean, he said it so nonchalant that I just sort of believed him. And he had so much confidence behind what he said. That's all it takes.
Yeah. For anybody who listened to last week, I mean, take his advice, I suppose.
Yeah.
It won't give you poison
for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's tough.
The other homeopathic solution is gasoline.
Gasoline and rubbing alcohol.
Gasolina.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. I waited and got a shot and went to the doctor, and so hopefully.
Did you ask the doctor? The dosker. Did you ask the? That's all, folks. Did you ask? I kind of locked myself into that. I'm sorry. The rain in Spain falls mainly in the place. Did you ask the doctor about the gasoline solution?
No, but Abby is related to a doctor.
Yeah.
Or, I won't say exactly who in their family tree, just so that, to protect their identity. But when I was over celebrating a grandfather's birthday over the weekend, I interacted with this guy and I was like, hey, I mean, like, I've got all this poison ivy, like, what's the deal? I mean, I could try the gasoline thing. Like, what? He's like, well, I do the gasoline thing. So, I mean, this man was a surgeon and he puts gasoline on his poison ivy.
That's true.
I mean, how bad could it really be? I mean, he knows a lot better than I do.
Yeah, medical professionals, though, are kind of a weird genre of guy and gal in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
People with medical degrees, that doesn't necessarily always correlate to best practices. I think nurses are a good example of that.
True. No,
I was at the doctor earlier this week on Monday, and I guess I was, on Monday, and my nurse just had a blinged out Apple Watch. It's weird. She had like diamond studs, or they probably weren't actually diamond, but like wrapped around her Apple
she's
Watch.
got that nurse salary, man.
Yeah, with that nurse salary. I don't know. She
could buy the deluxe bejewel kit.
She had a big rock on her finger, so I assume that, and a tattoo that's a when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That was visible under her scrubs on her arm, which was, I don't know.
It's a great genre of individual.
I guess so. I the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, is that supposed to make me feel better about being sick? I like to hope that it was.
Yeah.
She was like, this isn't actually for me. This isn't a mantra I care about so much as this is for my patients.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually curious.
It's like one of those billboards on the highway with are talking about how Jesus saves.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of a thing.
I'm mostly curious about how does somebody look at like a classic idiom like that, which has just been said so many times, and the meaning is totally void from it. It's not even worth talking about anymore. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade or whatever, and then you're just like that is my guide stone. That'll be on my body.
That'll
for
be
the rest of my life.
A core aspect of my personality.
Yeah.
And when people talk about something adjacent to that topic, I'll try to shoehorn.
When I'm on my deathbed and they can't bury me in a Jewish cemetery because I have a tattoo, I want the thing to be, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When the nurse who's is attending to me mixes up my dosage of medicine and kills me preemptively. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
There you
go.
Yeah.
I hope she made a TikTok after she saw me. Nursing is so hard.
At the very least, so that what your disease could have come, created something good, created art.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. That's really
true.
made a lot of people happy. That's all I'm, So
yeah, that reminds me of that viral TikTok the other day, or a while ago. It made it to Twitter, but it was this woman crying about how she had lost a patient, and it's like, imagine
setting
you
up a phone
because your nurse screwed up, and then them recording a TikTok of themselves crying in a hallway over it. You're like,
yeah, that's the big thing, is the setting up the phone to hit record.
Yeah,
I have a really bad radar for this. Right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I believe most everything I see on the internet.
Well, I'm bad at pictures too. And I'm bad at taking pictures, or like Snapchat. I can't even do Snapchat. So let alone just being like, what I need to do right now in this particular situation, record it.
What I mean is, I'm really bad at telling whether or not something is a fake based off of the like the actors and everything like that in a video like that, like a TikTok. And so the thing that I'm trying to focus on is where the camera is.
Yeah.
And if there's nobody around. Or if it just seems a little bit too on the nose that somebody would have a camera.
Yeah, I mean, they set the tripod up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for this particular purpose.
Yeah, and it looked like she would have had to set up a tripod in that, by the way. Either that or there was like some sort of windowsill, but still.
I hope it was a ring light. That'd be really funny.
Nice. There you go. I think that every hospital for nurses, if there's a nurses union, you should put this in your freaking list of demands. Ring lights, tripods. Ring light tripods in every hall, in every ward, so that if anything happens, either positive or negative during your day, you can have the flexibility and the opportunity to make a TikTok. Because preventing that and not giving people that flexibility, honestly, is slavery.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but I also think they should provide like an Eeyore hoodie.
There you go. To every nurse in America.
An Eeyore hoodie for every white nurse.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And fake nails for every Latina nurse.
My man, my dude.
Yeah.
My homie.
Yeah, compadre.
Yeah. What do we do on this podcast? We talk about
our monomaniacal obsessions for the week.
True. Yeah. We've got our white whales of the week.
Yeah.
And Shad, I was wondering, do you have a white whale for us this week?
The white whale for me this week is I have actually undergone a similar thing. What you guys are experiencing right now is like a battered and destroyed Strehle family.
Yeah.
Because I know I have also not been getting sleep. I have also been having a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
My cat or somebody who or another animal that interacted with my cat, potentially watched a puppy or whatnot, brought fleas into my home. And I have this genetic specificity.
Goodness gracious.
No, it's true. This is real.
I can't believe you're airing this out on the public forum, dude.
Why is it? Why does this matter?
Torn apart, dude.
Why am I going to be torn apart? I am allergic to bug bites.
Okay.
I'm allergic to bug bites, and my blood attracts them at higher rates. Bugs.
Because you've got quote-unquote sweet blood.
Because I have sweet blood. If there was a vampire out there, all you vampires out there who are watching right now, I'm projecting, first off, embrace me, please.
Bring me into the masquerade.
Bring me into the masquerade. Please, if you're a Toreador especially. But so and the reason why I know this is because of these fleas. Because now we're like in full warfare against these fleas. We have to wash our sheets every night. We have to rewash all of our clothing. We have to constantly vacuum like multiple times a day to try and get these things killed. But they will follow me around the house. So like I work in a room that has a rug on one side of the room, and they go over the wood floor to attach themselves to me. Every like 30 minutes, I'll look down at my feet and there'll be like 4 or 5. No joke.
Yeah.
Just attached to my legs. Right? Hey. My wife has found one on her. One. And has no welts. Like I look like I've been dipped in, a bunch of needles or something. Just covered in them. It's wild. It's similarly in the same with you. I have also not been getting good sleep, and I'm not saying I'm not in as much suffering, I would say, as you are. Though very
Thank you.
Doubtless very different.
Yeah. Please don't steal my Poison Ivy Valor.
I'm not trying to steal Poison Ivy Valor right now, but it's like it's another thing where it's like, okay, well now this is all I think about all the time, because it's like, okay, at every moment I look down and there's another one of these freaking fleas. So on my way home today from the recording, I'm going to be buying a bunch of flea powder. We put the poison on our cat.
I can't believe how irresponsible you are to bring these fleas into my home.
There's no fleas with me, I assure you.
I can't believe this. I cannot believe you've done this. My poor dog,
Your poor dog. Though actually, your dog is going to be going to my house this weekend.
I hope that the flea issue is resolved. Yeah,
that's the hope.
Fingers crossed.
That's the hope. Dylan is going to be traveling next week. How are you going to be traveling with your...
my boils? Well, according to my physician, who may have been a nurse practitioner, I'm not certain.
Yeah.
Everything that's new that I got in the last couple of days that hasn't fully matured into being really hard to deal with, is going to stay flat, and it is not going to get any worse.
Great.
And the stuff that's really hard to deal with, we're on the other side of the hill on.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to be A-okay, brother.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're going to just be enjoying your vacation.
I don't know about that, because I think
delicious P&W.
I think that it'll still really suck.
Yeah.
And I'll be itchy on the flight and all that jazz, but at least I won't have to carry around tissues.
This episode is freaking insane. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're currently what you're seeing right now, I guess this is not normal content for Monomaniacs, because it's not jovial or conversational in the same way. So we've had a rough one.
We've had a rough one. It's tough.
We're kind of pushing our way through it right now. And, the thing is about being like a genuine content creator, or having something like a Patreon, or having a dialogue with your fans in the way that we currently are kind of building right now, is that on the up weeks and the down weeks, you sort of have to kind of do this because it's important to be genuine, right?
Exactly.
Right. We're presenting to you guys an accurate portrayal of our life at any given moment, and our lives at this given moment are full of various bugs, little mites that are not only burrowing their way into our skin, but burrowing their way into our thoughts and minds.
Yes. There is a parasite in my head.
We're currently being haunted. We are being haunted by...
This is the actualization of man versus nature, right? In the modern era.
Yeah.
Right. You're watching it right now.
You're watching it happen as you speak, and you can see the life in my eyes totally vacant.
Just right disappearing. Now. No joy.
There's no man, only bug. Only bug.
And no joy whatsoever.
I kind of wish, actually, I was thinking about this the other day, being bug-brained,
Yeah.
Just being a skittering bug, in the way that Samsa or whatever, is it Arthur Samsa in Franz Kafka's
Metamorphosis? Yes. Yeah. I don't remember his full name.
I don't think it's Arthur, but how he enters bug mode. He goes full bug mode.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I could go full bug mode in some respects.
I mean, what would you do with the full bug mode abilities?
Well, I'm not saying that like it wouldn't necessarily be me right now switching into bug mode, because if I switch into bug mode right now, I have responsibilities. I have a wife. I have property. I have all these things, and I have people I need
bugs
to take care of.
About those
and
things.
Bugs don't care about those things.
Yeah.
But just imagine like
they want to skitter.
At your most stressed, if you could just skitter, if you could just go, all I care about is the acquisition of detritus,
assorted dust,
and just clacking my mandibles. Man, the pleasure that a small bug must derive from clacking its mandibles, I will never be able to clack my mandibles. It's like how in a Thomistic interpretation of an animal, right? Is that it's at its best when it's glorifying it's what it was created to do.
Yes.
A horse as it runs, a penguin as it goes from land to sea,
and back again.
A bird as it flies. A frog as it croaks. Right. What is it? And the real question of what humanity is to do, and Thomas would say like worship or something would be the thing that,
or whatever.
But what if you could get that same actualization from just clacking one's mandibles? Right. We don't have anything like that.
No, we don't have mandibles to clap. I mean, maybe. There's guys out there that are really into snapping their fingers really fast. Like that ADHD tick of snapping their fingers. I think that could be close.
Maybe.
I think you have to have a certain level of autism where you could do a little physical action that gives you that pleasure.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think so?
I'm going to say that's off base.
Yeah,
I'm going to say that's off base.
Not at all base.
But
no, I mean like the sad. It's true. It's really sad that we would never be able to experience mandibles, dude. And until science gets us to that point, I don't know if we could ever really actualize ourselves as humans.
Here are things that bugs can do. Mandibles, being able to see in every direction simultaneously. Proboscis.
It's true.
Having a proboscis. I mean, come on. I wish I had a proboscis.
Yeah. What would you do with your proboscis?
I would drink a shake.
Yeah.
I would turn everything into a shake and then drink it.
Best way to drink a shake. You got that long tube out of your mouth. You can set that in the cup. And
your
instead
tongue
of having
is a straw.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
there's literally nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
There's no downsides whatsoever.
Exactly. And that's what these little creatures are doing to me right now as we speak.
As you speak?
No, I'm not being bit right now. I would feel it.
You would.
I would.
You've got this third.
I have flea sense now.
Your third eye has been opened to fleas.
My third flea has been fleed. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. A friend of mine online, Andrew Egger. I was making fun of him. I was on Steam. I was actually working, and then I got a Steam notification that he started playing Persona 4 Golden JRPG, and I called him a weeb, and then he asked me if I'd ever played the game, and I said no, and then he sent it to me for free. So as I have now received a gift / curse. I'm starting to kind of lean heavier towards curse.
Yeah,
at this point.
I mean, because of the sheer amount of playtime it requires.
Yes.
That is more of a curse than anything else.
Yeah. So I mean, there's this thing about it that's super consistent, and this is like a weird kind of niche thing, but for I guess people listen to the show for some weird niche stuff, but it's like a. It's half. It's like I don't know, 75% visual novel and then like 25% RPG, but then there's like more RPG to it. I don't know. It's a lot, and then there's a lot of characters and a lot of dialogue and a lot of conversation and stuff and a lot of simulation. You're just sitting there, just kind of like hitting the button over and over again as voice actors just voice their way through a thing after thing after thing after thing. But I've noticed some things that are just built in to waste your time. And I think this is sort of like a general Japanese media thing, anime included, where people will have conversations that are just pure useless, just pure useless. And every character in the scene will repeat the same thing. So it'll be like, have we learned anything? And somebody will say, no, I don't think we have learned anything. I'm wondering about this thing that we've been wondering about for 2 scenes now. And it's like, oh, indeed. And the next character will say, no, I don't think we have. I've been also wondering about this thing that we've been thinking about for 2 scenes now.
And Persona's especially bad at that.
And so it's just every conversation turns into twice as long as it needs to, because as the player, you've also reached all these conclusions and they still have to game everything out.
Yeah.
Well, they'd be like, could this be the case? And somebody's like, I don't know, could it? And someone else is like, I don't know, could it be the case? You know, and then you have the comic relief character being like, bomb ba dom ba dom. You just want to jump off something.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think the explanation for this would be that in every scene, every character needs something to do and needs to provide their opinions on the matter. At least that's the philosophy behind it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if there's a character in a scene, they're going to be talking in that scene.
Look, I can understand why people, latch on to these characters so heavily and why it's like a really important thing for people. And like the themes in Persona are cool, and it's a lot about like a Jungian understanding of the psyche and all this weird stuff. But you're sitting here and you're like, gosh, I feel like the reason people like these people so much is Stockholm Syndrome. It's because you're stuck with them for like 60 to 140 hours.
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Like, and as I'm hitting every A button, and realizing, I watch the opening cutscene, right? And all the characters are introduced like an anime opening, right? And I'm like, I've got like 8 more people I gotta meet and have like a relationship with. I don't know. It's just a bit much. And I'm gonna keep trying for a while. And like the gameplay is like it's a JRPG, so I'm not sitting there thinking, man, I just cannot wait to play game because playing game is just hitting button and watching animation. I don't know. See, this is the thing, is that I don't really even have time for this stuff anymore. I basically don't have time for video games anymore, period, right? And so now I was gifted a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh.
Even if you played it an hour a day, right? That's almost 9 weeks if you do 60 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And, if it's the 140
no,
hours.
and it won't be the 60 hours because I'm not going to like mainline everything.
No, you're going to try to experience the
I'm going to
game.
try and experience the game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous. It just kind of actually makes me wonder, though, kind of what your responsibility is to somebody who does this.
Oh, provides you a game like that, gives you a gift. I mean, I think it's the same as anything where the problem with Steam is it's all very public and all that information is publicly accessible. So, somebody could give you something that you have no interest whatsoever in playing, and you should at least open it up and, check it out and play around in it. But it's like, somebody gives you a coffee table book that you'll probably never open. That's fine. You could just never open it.
I don't know, but it's like $20. That's a lot of money.
I mean, for some... I don't know. I mean, you're right. It's a lot of money for it's an impromptu gift that has nothing to do with
it's an adult
birthday.
It's an adult person's $1.
Yeah,
we all know this. Nothing costs anything under $20, right? I'm sure that Dave Ramsey or whatever is upset about that. But anything under $20 is not it's not an expense. It's not real. You didn't actually spend any money when you spend less than $20. But I don't know, like at $20, I was like, he didn't even wait till it was on sale, and I was sitting here and I was like, and part of me has always been curious about the Persona series. I was going to play 5 when it came out on PC in October. I was going to try and do that.
But that came out at like $60, right?
It's not coming out yet.
Oh.
It's not coming out till October.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sitting here thinking, well, and I've seen some spoilers for 4, and I have not for 5 on purpose because I was like, one day I will play this game. But now it's like the rubber's hitting the road, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. I do not know. And like everybody who hates JRPGs is like, there's one good JRPG, and it's Persona.
Yeah.
So
we shall see. Or you could be a Xenoblade guy, which is just a whole genre of dude.
No, you don't want to be a Xenoblade guy.
You don't. Steven, if you're listening to this, I love you, man. Why?
Yeah, wait, have you talked to Steven about 3 yet?
No. I mean, he's this is for you and me. Yeah. But he's a big fan of 1.
Okay.
It's one of his favorites, but I've heard good things about it. I tried to watch a video essay on it. Decided against it.
That's labor, basically.
Yeah.
Watching video essays is basically labor.
Yeah. I should be paid to do it, honestly,
Yeah.
Because I'm really improving both that person's life by giving them my ad revenue cents and improving my own. It's society is just better for me doing that, right? So I should be paid to do it.
Full of knowledge. Full of knowledge.
Oh, yeah. Guys, we do this podcast because we like to do it, and we also do it for our patrons, because they're out here bearing the load that is, the financial burden of this podcast. Before you guys came in, we were living on the street. We were using 2 cans with a string attached, and we were just doing a podcast to each other. just across the street.
It's not too far
boxes,
off, honestly.
And just a little bit by bit, we've grown into what you see today, and it's all because of you. It's all because of your contributions. I want to make a special thank you to our top tier donators. If you enter our top tier, you get a shout out every podcast. I'm going to throw out Joe Papalardo, Zach and Amber Straley, and Sammy Roberts. Thank you. Awesome. You guys are the real heroes, the real kings and queens. It's just that simple. We also have a $5 tier for a Patreon exclusive episode that we release each week after our original episode. And so if you're interested in listening to that and getting almost twice the content every week, it's only $5 a month. And we've also got our AMA tier, Ask Us Anything tier, where you can ask us questions that we will answer on the podcast. And of course, you also get that if you're in the $25 tier. So, I mean, why not? Why not just do all of it?
You also get to be on the end card with every episode, and somebody who dropped from the Patreon after 1 month snuck into the end card last week. So Dylan hasn't been paying. Paying up to it.
God, I thought they were coming. They were dropping off at end of August, so that's my bad. But first, I've got our first question from Samuel Roberts, our newest lieutenant,
Samuel Bamuel.
I have a question for the Monomaniacs. Bugs Life or ants? Bugs Life or ants?
I've never seen ants. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As far as I do, though, have a strong aversion to it, just based off of the fact that we can't support Woody Allen.
We can't
in any capacity.
We can't support a filmmaker like
that.
Andy
Hall is actually retroactively bad. I promise.
I mean, I would say that the animation on that has always turned me off, even when I was young, because all the ants are so angular, right? Which is super weird.
They've kind of got like the Chad.
Yeah, they got Chad chin, dude. Each and every one of them. Even, even the coated female ones. It's got these huge sharp chins.
Yeah.
Which is always a little bit strange to me. And we were Disney kids back in the day, and so we watched A Bug's Life.
Disney. It was not Disney at that point.
True,
it's Pixar.
It was Pixar. And I mean, you look at those ants in that movie, in The Bug's Life. They got that really smooth skin. It's great. Looks like rubber. You could bounce a quarter off that.
You could bounce a quarter off that thorax.
Yeah, you probably kill the ant doing that, but hey, and make a good visual. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I wish I could provide you a better opinion. What are your opinions on Bug's Life, though?
My opinion,
because you've seen Bug's Life.
It's just the Seven Samurai / the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
but just animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually, if you want to play a game, you can see that archetype play out in so many different movies and so many different TV shows. It's the pilot to the A-Team is just like that too. I don't know if you guys have probably never seen that, but it used to be on Netflix way back in the day. We watched a lot of that.
Back when everything was on Netflix.
Back when everything was on Netflix, man, that was awesome. But
bring us back.
You have a small group of people who either are or not like the added element with the Bug's Life is that they're frauds, right? But with the Magnificent Seven or the Seven Samurai, they go into a village that's being, they're grabbed by some yokels who bring them out to the sticks, and they defend the yokels from bandits or outlaws
who are repeat offenders who come back
semi-seasonally. Grasshoppers in the case of A Bug's Life, or like drug dealers in the case of A-Team, because they were always killing drug dealers and always flipping cars. Those are the two things that they were doing. So,
but A-Team had two modes.
Yeah, it was fun though. I mean, I remember enjoying it. I haven't seen it in ages.
Yeah,
ages.
Yeah, all I remember primarily is that the caterpillar character's got a German accent for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they're an overweight individual and they're playing off of the fat German archetype.
Yes.
Right. Which is weird because I don't know where'd that come from? Right? Like the fat German boy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I guess there's that in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but I don't think that's the origination.
The Augustus Gloop character.
The Augustus Gloop phenomenon.
Yeah, Augustus Gloop trope. I'm sure you could actually look this up on Tropes. There'd probably be a good explanation for it.
If Josh was here, you could look it up.
Yeah, Josh has abandoned us in our time of greatest need.
I know, when we were the most tired, the most sick. The most we could just use a little laugh in the corner every once in a while.
That's true. It's important, though, that you guys are laughing at home at our not jokes. We haven't told a joke in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I hope you're laughing at it.
This ain't a jokes podcast.
All right, what's next?
All right, what's next? We got questions from Joe Paps. Joe Papalardo. Man, I just accidentally saw a picture of me in the shiner on my face, and I'm very self-conscious. So I thought about switching with you, so that I was on that side, so that I didn't have to worry about that. But hey, as Shad said, we're here to be genuine,
unvarnished.
Exactly, no varnish whatsoever. All right, if you could time travel and be an early adopter of a new technology or media, which would you pick?
Bitcoin,
yeah, crypto. Thing that would get me money real fast.
Yeah, crypto, and then if I'm back in time, I would know when the dip would come. I mean, I don't know.
Hop on that Dogecoin.
I'm not into crypto for like, not only for economic reasons, but for like, legitimate reasons. I think it's kind of a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme essentially. It's just it's built to incentivize people to get other people in on it so that the value goes up, so that the early adopters get more cash, and it just kind of self-feeds itself, right? That's not like a legitimate economic model. It's just a way to make money through speculation, which, there's an argument whether or not it's moral to be making money through speculation in that sort of way. So I don't know. I'm not super into crypto, but if I could go back in time, baby, I would definitely be into crypto.
My freshman year of college, I would have...
Earlier. They were doing crypto when we were in high school.
It's true.
And I knew guys who had it.
You knew guys who had Bitcoin?
Yeah, who had Bitcoin.
Wow.
Like, and they were telling me about it, and I was going in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
But, gosh, if I was rolling back then, and then 2020 still had it.
Jeez, yeah.
There's guys who dropped out of college because of that.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, even if you put $100 in back in, 2012 or whatever, like you would...
Well, that's a little early.
I just like the year 2012.
Yeah.
So here's a weird story about 2012. So 2012, I think we can all agree, is like one of the most sexy sounding year names.
Yeah.
And when we approached or were within 2012, it always felt... It felt right.
Yeah.
Right? It felt good to be in the year 2012. And when we were at a mock student government, somebody introduced a bill to change every year to 2012. Just because and at that point it was like 2013 or 2014, but we got to go back to 2012 because that was when the getting was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: is like what else would I want to be the first person with a color TV? Like I don't care about any of that.
I'm not thinking of any sort of like economic or like any sort of technological thing.
This is tough because this is all stuff that we have in commonplace, right? Except for the expensive stuff. Like I get to experience this stuff at a much lower cost now, right? Like why would I want to be an early adopter on a thing that doesn't give me
Blu-ray?
Yeah, exactly.
Before Blu-ray became economically
well, I mean, like maybe
acceptable.
Penicillin. I'd love to be an early adopter for penicillin, but I don't know, brother. All right, we'll give you one more. Oh no, he followed this up. He said, I'm grateful I wasn't an early YouTuber, but I regret being late to the newspaper business. There you go. You could be one of the...
A classic Joe joke.
A classic Joe joke.
Were those the only questions we got?
Yes, those are the questions for the week.
Cool.
Feel free to throw questions our way.
Yeah.
If you're in the $10 tier or above.
We're always happy to answer them. And speaking of that early technology adapting thing, I've never once in my entire life ever felt like I have to get on a train early. Now, for something like Bitcoin, that would have made a huge difference. But for...
I thought you were just literally talking about transportation.
Yes.
Like, I have never felt like I needed to get on a train.
No, I'm
right on time.
I'm always getting stuff early. I'm always getting on transportation early. If they would let me, I'd get on the train an hour early.
Yeah.
But I've done Amtrak a couple of times. It's really fun.
It is fun.
I highly suggest to anybody who wants to give that a shot. But the problem is that since... especially now, technology is incredibly incremental, and like the leaps in development are so quick. It's like, why not wait a year or two? It's like if they ever came out with some sort of, if I had lost an arm, totally different scenario because I probably want an arm right now.
Yeah,
but
please.
Yeah, please give me an arm. But if I was, they were getting to the point where they're like, okay, so fully articulated mechanical limb. It's like, well, at the rate, because the thing about technological development is it's basically exponential. Especially for technologies that have kind of been discovered already, right? And, it's slowing down in some capacity, it's speeding it up in other capacities, and I don't actually believe in, like, teleological history. I don't think things are constantly getting better and are always going to improve, right? We're not going to... There is a certain cap on how small we can make a chip, or et cetera. That's like, it's not going to just go and go and go and go and go. But I would never sit there and say, yeah, put the experimental technology on me. or I want to purchase the experimental technology.
Exactly.
I don't want to buy an electric car in 2010. I don't want to have, teeth prosthetics, before the development of like synthetic ivory.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything like that because, and part of it is that for economic reasons and for hype reasons, people are kind of willing to rush things out of the door before they're like feature ready and et cetera. Like the first generation of Oculus is a good example of this.
I was about to bring that up. VR, I think, is a really great example where it's like, when you wanted to, the first consumer VR headsets were like, almost $1,000.
Yeah.
You had to have this really powerful PC to use them. But now, you can buy, it's now like $400 because they recently increased the price, but you could buy a Facebook, Oculus, which is what I
Meta
have.
Oculus.
Yeah, for like $300 and have everything you need in the headset, right? And and it's just
You don't
so
even
much
need a computer.
easier. Yeah, it's so much easier experience. And maybe I missed out on like 4 years of the first early like forays into the platform, when nobody actually knew what would be good, and there was a lot of really bad games because again, it was early, and now I get it all curated and I get it later, and I get to still experience
if you're
it.
like a hobbyist in some capacity, you're the kind of guy whose thing is that you want to be there to develop it, and you're on the Discord servers and you're talking to other people about their personal experiences with the technology, and you've read big gay articles about how like, oh, one day we're all going to be in the verse, and you're like excited about that rather than objectively terrified by that.
I want to meet that guy.
Yeah, so if you're that kind of dude, and You've met tech optimists before, like really dedicated tech optimists and whatnot, then yeah, sure, you want to be on the cutting edge of everything. But if you're doing something before Apple like comes out with a product of it, then it's just a little silly, right? Because, eventually Apple is just going to come out with some sort of super smooth and super reliable version that's going to be way too expensive. And you can buy the knockoff of that and you'll be fine. But it's like, until technology is that reliable and that consistent, it's like, why even bother with it?
Yeah.
Why even bother with it? And that goes for, not only like tech stuff that's entertainment oriented or et cetera, but something like transportation, something like energy, something like, I don't know. It's just... you gotta, everybody's got to be a trailblazer at one point, but that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is not to be a trailblazer. My responsibility is to be comfortable and to enjoy the product.
Yes.
Not to beta test the product.
Exactly.
And that goes for like food and stuff too, Like
we caught on the avocados a little bit later than everybody else, but like that whole transition.
I'm
right?
not talking about that. I'm talking about food development. Like, have you seen all these like crazy startups when it comes to food?
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like
You're talking like the protein cubes.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
protein
like that.
cubes, like the cube food, which is cube food. I remember when the cube food dropped. That was awesome. That was a great 6 hours when the cube food dropped. But like cube food or like the
Dippin' Dots.
Juicero or whatever that thing was. The bag you have to put in the machine to get your juice out of. That just is just regular juice, and that you could just buy the bag and like puncture it, and it's the same freaking juice, right? That sort of thing. I guess Dippin' Dots are, well, I mean,
that was Icarus, dude.
that was Icarus.
Fly
They flew
far too close to the sun.
but they still exist actually.
No, I know, but like not to the degree they used to.
Yes,
right?
that's true. You couldn't go to a ball game or like a county fair without there being Dippin' Dots.
Exactly. And now
Ice cream of the future.
you can see them in some malls, and usually they're attached to like an Orange Julius. Is it like is it
Yeah, or
Orange Julius
something
Dippin'
like
Dots?
that.
Yeah.
It's not Orange Julius,
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
owns-
Dairy Queen owns Orange
Julius.
Julius now.
Yeah, but like, yeah, you can only find them in malls sometimes, and then maybe there'll be a franchise that's really small mom and pop Dippin' Dots store.
Pop Dippin' Dots.
But usually, it's
Every
in a mall.
morning I go up and separate the different ice cream molecules.
With the world's smallest ice cream scooper, each individually
Eventually, it would be kind of funny, or we're enslaving large quantities of like elves or something, or
To, like,
small gnomes
to make snowballs.
to make snowballs.
Yeah.
And then stack them up, and they go to the cookies one, and they go to the cream one, and it's like it's cookies and cream.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's every time you eat that, that's like thousands of gnome hours.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's actually something I would often think about when I read something like the Big Friendly Giant.
Yeah.
When he's like fed all this food that the chefs like spent hours to make, and they just use as a fork and eats.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's applicable to anything, but if I end up in a Lilliputian style situation where I've got a whole bunch of tiny folks around me, all I'm going to say is I feel bad for them. Their labor is going to increase exponentially as I want more and more.
If you Gulliver travel, you're going to have to eat whole cows like Gulliver does.
Yeah, which is. Just for some reason, I have this visceral reaction to that. I don't know exactly why.
Can you please trim and clean this? I don't want a cow snack,
dude.
It'd be like eating a bug and stuff in some ways.
No, because they got all the bones and stuff.
It's little
little bones, but or the mandibles, dude.
Clack.
Yeah. What am I doing? What's my monomaniacal obsession?
Sure,
Shad. What is it?
What's your monomaniacal obsession?
So what I've been into this previous week, primarily, I've been stricken with poison ivy.
Yeah.
I have been rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Sedentary?
Yeah.
Sedentary with my lifestyle as of late.
Yeah.
And so what I've done is I've tried to live vicariously through people on YouTube.
Okay.
In ways that are ultimately really sad. And by that I mean I've been watching a lot of Let's Play.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
What are you, 14?
I know. I've been watching like Warhammer 3 Let's Play videos. And it's tragic, honestly. Like, it's not like, the irony is not lost on me that, like, I'll be upstairs watching this and I could literally walk 2 minutes, no, not even a minute, down in my basement and turn on my computer and play that exact same game myself, And, I've been trying to think about, like, why exactly do I enjoy this? Because for some reason, I don't know if you run into this before.
Yeah.
I oftentimes enjoy watching somebody else play a game, and then like I'll really enjoy it and be like, oh, I'll get that game, and I get it, and I'll like play 10 minutes of it and be like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was based off of that. I think it's that whole parasocial situation.
Yeah.
Where it's that, you feel like you're hanging out with a person and you're doing something you're both mutually interested in, the whole streamer thing, right? Yeah. And so, like, the best Let's Plays are the ones that are like podcasts that have supplementary, visual material out of the game.
Yeah.
Or, the best streamers are the ones that are, in my opinion, are, variety streamers that are not focused on like, oh, look at how good they are at the game.
Yeah.
Again, it's to me, it's that parasocial relationship. Not at all healthy, I don't think, but it's definitely attractive for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's totally normal. Like a good example would be, say, like Oni Plays, which is a good channel. But I mean, the thing is you don't tune in to watch the game. You tune in to hear the guys talk.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the difference, though, is that, I don't know, I remember people were really astounded, and I remember, like, there's a South Park episode about it, and it became, like, a joke on late night television stuff when PewDiePie was, like, raking in like millions and millions of views every video, and every kid was into that, whatnot, and now it's like Mr. Beast or whatever. So like the things have kind of changed, but it's for somebody who grew up watching that sort of stuff and kind of going through that sort of development, it makes total sense, right? Because again, you're not there at all for the game. It's just there to provide artificial drama to a personality, somebody who has the ability to kind of take fun or color out of something and turn it into a conversation. Yeah. Like a good example of this would be like sports commentary in some respects, like where it's a little bit more about the commentator than it would be about the sport in that circumstance, but that's basically what they're doing.
Well, I mean, I think the greatest way to sort of show that is the fact that you can go and watch just video of these games being played with no commentary.
Yeah.
The first thing that is uploaded when a game is released to the public is full playthrough, no commentary of the game. And you can go watch that, but that's like, that is supremely less popular. Now, I'm not going to make the judgment that it's, you might be a sociopath if you watch that. I'll throw that out there. You might be a misanthropic sociopath, but who knows? That being said, it's really important that there is that additional person there that again creates that sort of parasocial relationship where you feel like you're a part of something and there's that interactivity to it in a lot of ways,
Yeah, no, and I mean, what is the 21st century but not the parasocial generation?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what are we for, I know people that listen to this podcast that, we might be parasocial crutches for.
Crushes. Hopefully not.
I mean, hey, as long as I don't know about it, you crush all you want.
But no, parasocial crutch. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's really kind of we've reached the point where that's the case with us. But it's true though. There is a certain point where and I'm like this with like the 6 podcasts that I listen to or whatnot, where it's just nice to just sort of hear other people have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
when you're doing something boring.
Yeah.
Like cleaning.
When you're not having a good time.
When you're not having a good time, like when you're cleaning or going for a walk or something, you're like, okay, well, let's see what my friends have to say. And then your friends talk. And then, in those circumstances, I'll also call my friends. And, that's sort of the thing. It's like that is the thing that you're scratching in that capacity. Plus, it's like a good way to use all of your senses as well. Like watching a Let's Player forces you to sit there and listen and watch and just sort of be a part of that and turn your brain off.
Gotta love that.
Absolutely, entirely.
Gotta love that.
I don't know. I mean, there's certain mediums have certain abilities, and the medium is the message. But certain, I don't know. I have no idea what that even means, frankly.
I've never even heard that in any context before.
You took Understanding Television. I thought you guys talked about that guy's book or whatever.
I don't remember doing so. If that's the case, yeah.
Whatever. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So like when it comes to say podcasting specifically and building that sort of relationship, the thing about podcasting that's so powerful, and this is what I tell a lot of people that like say my clients or et cetera, is that you're building a parasocial relationship because you're a part of your daily life, right? If you're just listening to say this show or whatnot, and and that's awesome. Even though we do a video, I'm personally partial to listening to video podcasts, but it seems like videos get more views. But, you're washing your dishes, you're taking your dog for a walk, you're doing all these things, and you're taking your kids to school, etc. And when you're doing that, it means that we're a part of your daily routine. We're a part of your daily conversations. We're a part of your daily actions. And because of that, it's more likely for you to think, oh, these people are my friends. They're a part of my day.
Yeah.
Right? And so it means it's easier to sell you stuff. And, we're not selling anything.
No.
We're nowhere near selling anything to anybody.
Would we sell something? Yes.
100%. We would 100% sell something.
Yeah.
And our DMs are open if you're a small business and wishing to
advertise on
the podcast.
Yeah.
But, people are more likely, and all the statistics bear this out, more likely to buy things from somebody who's on a podcast because that person is a friend.
Yeah, friend recommendation.
And this is like a classic thing with like talk radio or like the bigs of like right-wing talk radio, like, Sean Hannity before he focused more on his television show, or Rush Limbaugh, et cetera, where it's like people are more likely to buy whatever product is kind of in the right-wing media sphere because they're like, this is my friend who I listen to with all of these problems. And the same thing goes for leftist podcasting or, I guess there isn't really a right-wing talk radio equivalent for terrestrial, but you know what I mean? People kind of build that relationship, and because, the whole time they're sitting there nodding their heads and being like, this guy's smart. He knows what he's talking about, when he's like, oh, and by the way,
male performance enhancing
pill, i.e. Alex Jones, where he's like, hey,
do you want to be more red?
Do you want to be redder? I'm not talking about political affiliation. I'm talking about skin tone. Did you see Billy Corgan was on InfoWars?
No.
Yeah, Billy Corgan was on InfoWars a couple of weeks ago.
For those that don't know, who is Billy Corgan?
The lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins.
Why?
Because he's a right-winger.
I didn't know this about Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan endorsed McCain in 2008.
No.
And nobody ever talks about it.
That's
it was on
crazy.
CNN, and it like instantly got memory hold. But Billy Corgan endorsed McCain in 2008 and then went totally silent for years. And then he just showed up on InfoWars a few weeks ago. And he's just looking like, old Billy Corgan.
Yeah,
like, terribly dressed and very chubby. But he actually was like, oh, I love your testosterone enhancing, supplements. I use them. So pretty funny. I don't know why. I mean, I don't think there's any any Pumpkins music that's coming up, but
I don't think so. No,
and I didn't see like it. Some people tweeted about it periodically, but there wasn't any sort of like cancellation, which I think was funny.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not important enough to cancel.
That's true. The Pumpkins haven't really released a good record in a really, really long time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody cares enough about the Smashing Pumpkins to be like,
I don't know. People really care about Smashing Pumpkins.
It's true, but it's not enough to like enter the zeitgeist.
I think Smashing Pumpkins, and this might be coming from a weird zone, but I think Smashing Pumpkins in some ways is kind of right wing as far as like its current audience is concerned.
Okay.
Like
is
people
it more
are
like
still
a dad rock kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like a dad rock thing, but I don't know. Like the biggest online Smashing Pumpkins fan I know of, and this is because he was a guest on a podcast that like interviews people who are active in politics about music, which is Political Beats with Scott Bertram, which is and Jeff. I always forget Jeff's last name, which is a great show. But they interviewed a guy who was like the head of American Greatness, he's not the head, but like one of the editors at American Greatness, which is this like Trump rag. And he's like, oh yeah, I love the Pumpkins. The Pumpkins are the best. And so I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's like that's a right wing thing, which and I'm not saying this to say that I'm right wing, and but I kind of am. I am, but I love Smashing Pumpkins. Love Smashing Pumpkins. They're good records.
I'm indifferent towards the Smashing Pumpkins.
Really?
Yeah. I like some songs. Yeah, there's general sound I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. Me and Joe Papalardo, my roommate / donator to this podcast / reoccurring guest on this podcast, we went through a huge Smashing Pumpkins phase together while we were living together.
That is unity. That is
true.
That is true solidarity between roommates.
Between roommates getting into Smashing Pumpkins. So.
Once in your life, you will find that special person.
You will get Smashing Pumpkins.
Exactly.